for the final example here, I've shifted over to Bing, which is the Microsoft search engine that is now available for usage, where it is integrating the GPT model that underpins ChatGPT, where it combines searching with the AI output. So suppose, for example, that we are developing a course and we would like to have the AI help us with this. So the big difference between ChatGPT and Bing is that Bing can search the internet, of course. And one way to utilize this is to have it search for things that ChatGPT, right now at least, cannot access. So suppose that we want to develop an introductory organization theory course, but we have no idea on how to start it. So here I asked Bing to search for the CBS course catalog, which is publicly available on the internet, to identify the standard way of setting up courses at CBS. I also asked Bing to search for other prominent business schools' way of setting up organization theory courses, because I honestly don't know how I would start setting it up. Then I tell Bing, use those searches to provide a draft template for a CBS course on organizational theory worth 10 ECTS offered at the bachelor level. So let's see how Bing does it. Right, and now Bing produces an enormous amount of text. So I should say that I'm in creative mode now, which seems to be the better mode right now, as it allows for better quality of output and longer output, but also better synthesizing of search terms. So first, it outlines quickly how CBS sets up course descriptions with a bunch of information about how it relates to specific programs, specific topics. It also outlines some standard ways that it's done in terms of organizational courses. And then it integrates ideas from other places, like, for instance, the Coursera course on organizational analysis, summarizes how they do it, and then integrates that into the standard CBS template. So it then offers actually a full 10 ECTS draft. Introduction to Organizational Theory basically blurbs out the standard course description, produces some quite convincing learning objectives here. So explain, compare, analyze, evaluate, apply, communicate, and we can of course simply change those if you want. And then it actually goes on to produce a draft course content. So apparently this is a 4-module course with 4 lectures in each module, based on the quite well-known Scott and Davis book on organizations and organizing in its 2015 version, I think. This is quite comprehensive. I have to ask Bing to continue making the template because it's so long, but it even goes on to outlining the workload, potentials for how to actually do the grade, although this is probably not how you do it in reality, and then some final information. But this is not the end of what Bing can do here. Suppose that one of the things we want to do is to find relevant teachers that can help us with this. Right, so what I've done here is that I've simply asked Bing to find some potential teachers that could be relevant for Module 4, and then see if there's some relevant course content that could be added there to supplement the textbook by Scott and Davis. So it goes out and does a broad search, and it identifies some of our colleagues that I think would be pretty cool to have on this course, although maybe an overkill given the expertise. But as Bing correctly identifies, these colleagues have of course published on the very nature of, and we'll scroll up to Module 4, Organizational Culture and Identity, which is exactly the kind of publications that Bing comes out with. So this is actually not too bad, but we can of course make it even more specific. Right, so now I simply asked Bing to imagine how I could fit my good friend and colleague Rasmus from IOA into this course. So of course Bing looks up Rasmus's personal website. I think it exists somewhere. Or at least identifies that Rasmus has written about international tax professionals and how they shape tax policies and practices. So Bing suggests that we should give him lecture 10, because that's about resource-dependent theory and power. And then provide some justification for how his research can be useful there in an organizational theory context. It also provides some ideas for how his different articles can be used in that specific lecture, and even highlights that maybe he can draw on his own expertise. So now we've simply, with a few minutes of work, we've actually developed a whole draft structure for a fictional course in organizational theory. We've found suggestions for literature, a standard textbook that it gave, and some extra articles. And we can easily work with the AI to figure out how we can change the potential lectures depending on who we want to have teaching or what kind of teaching we want to include, and then we can brainstorm with Bing to figure it out. So this is a very simple use case that you can use to brainstorm on course reorganization or organization from the ground up, but also how to change courses without staring into hundreds of hours of work.